We're going to still talk about budget, but a different kind of budget, and that is the capital budget. The operating budget is the day-to-day operating budget, but then you have the capital improvement budget, and that's what pays for projects like parks and roads and West Hawaii Civic Center and such things. And this is going to be a 60-second question going to Ms. Hapai first. In the last 8 years, the county will have spent around $600 million for capital improvement projects to build those kinds of infrastructure things I just mentioned. What specific major projects are you thinking about, if you think any are needed at this point? 60 seconds, please, Ms. Hapai.
Okay, as I mentioned earlier, health and safety is a primary concern of mine because, well, I look out the window and I see Kilauea. And we've had a lava flow almost reach Pahoa town. So it's right in our backyards, literally. So what would I do? Well, for one thing, working with civil defense very closely these last 4 years on emergency preparedness fairs, what we found was that only 35,000 people on this island can be serviced at any time in an emergency facility. And as Sherry mentioned, we're up to 196,000. So I'd like to see more infrastructure. I'd like to see buildings for emergency purposes possibly put in our parks. And just to get us so that we have a place to go or have an idea, a better idea what to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Bryant, what specific capital project are you thinking of if you get elected mayor?
I have to say that taking on the county would be a problem in as much as we are now expending a lot of time and money taking care of former capital projects that have been misused and abused over the time. I'm a member of the Waimea Arts Council, and our building is basically falling down as the county watches. And we've had repeated requests to have that repair done, and they say, yes, we're going to do that, and then 2 months later, no, we can't do that. So I'm afraid that the situation is we have to deal with the things that we have rather than adding more onto it until we catch up with the things that are ill-served at the moment.
Thank you, Mr. Bryant. Mr. Weiner.
New capital improvement projects here, they're vast of what we need in terms of infrastructure. I've heard about the bottleneck here in Kona, where everyone's trying to get home at night and get stuck in traffic. So that you have numerous options for that, improving the roads themselves and or improving public transportation so that we all have ways to get where we need to be, where we need to be. Working in terms of capital improvement is involving public-private partnerships to help improve upon the infrastructure that we already have that needs repair, as has been mentioned, is very vital as well. In empowering people in the community to get involved so that if you want to improve something, you can.
Thank you very much. Mr. Waugh, you have the microphone in front of you. Why don't you go next?
I think capital improvement projects, we need to expand the police and fire presence out in these rural areas like Ocean View, Nalehu, up in Mountain View. The response time has been very, very sad. We're losing a lot of people. We need to get that done. We also need to streamline the bidding process for a lot of these projects. We need to get all of the people that are interested in bidding a project in the same room and auction out the bidding. These sealed bid projects are starting to smell of corruption. People are calling their friends, telling them what the lowest bid was, try and beat that. We need to get all of them in the same room, and we need to really watch, as far as capital improvement projects, we need to watch change orders, because that's what's costing a lot of money that could be better utilized in other things that the county really needs.
Thank you. Mr. Hoffman.
I wonder whether many of you understand that for the last 18 years, the county's been dumping partially treated and untreated wastewater into a hole here in Kona. Now, there's a number of ways that the county has tried to attend to this problem, but the problem still exists. And until we attend to that issue, with the USGS already telling us that our nearshore waters in Honokahau Harbor are already impaired, I think we have a serious problem on our hands. Think of the impact that that has for development in this area, if nothing else. Now, there's a simple solution to that, at least to stop the pollution, and that is containerized treatment. But that's looking at a long-range plan, and you talk to the county, and they have plans for this, but still the pollution continues. The same thing is true of looking at the Hilo facility as well. We do have leaching going on into the ocean, and we must attend to that on a long-range basis.
Thank you, Mr. Hoffman. Mr. Kim, what are you thinking about relative to specific capital improvement projects if you become mayor again?
I can tell you what the priorities has to be in regards to CIPs. First of all, there will be wastewater and solid waste. But we all need to know that we borrowed a lot of money in the past few years, a lot of money. And the first thing we have to do is evaluate, because all CIPs basically, except for small amount things, are paid out of bond money. Any bond money obviously has to meet certain type of criteria in regards to how much do you want this county to borrow. And we are at that maximum. So for a while, it's just going to be an evaluation in regards to the financial situation here. Take a look at the priorities, which I have stated, of solid waste and wastewater, especially of the solid waste because we're near capacity because of the Hilo landfill. It's not going to be an easy thing to address. Money is a major issue in regards to addressing that problems. Please remember, CIPs are bond monies.
Thank you, Mr. Kim. A real brief follow-up. You said that you believe that we are at the maximum amount we can borrow, but County Finance told me we are not, that we are underneath it. So do you have some different information than Hawaii County Department of Finance? 15 seconds.
Absolutely. And I think all of you are being asked to take a good look at that because a lot of information are not absolutely accurate in regards to being fed to you. We are near maximum in regards to the percentage that is recommended by GASB in regards to how much we should borrow based on our revenues.
Thank you. Thank you. Ms. McCandless, talk about specific capital improvement projects that you would propose.
Capital improvement projects that we definitely need to address is our wastewater, it's our infrastructure, it's our landfill. And really, it all ends up addressing into what is the big problem that we're facing. It all leads into affordability and the big problem, homelessness. If we're not addressing these issues, it all links up together. They're not independent of each other. They're all interconnected, and it all affects our communities. Landfills, right now, Hilo is full. They're starting to truck it over to Pu'uanahulu, to the Pu'uwawa. What does landfills do? It gets into our water table. Water is one thing that us as humans cannot live without. We need to address that. Same thing with wastewater. Not only does it have to do with our water, it has to do with our marine resources. And lastly, infrastructure. Like I said earlier, opportunity costs. We're spending so much time on the road when we're missing out with our families, getting second jobs, etc., and we can't afford to do that.
Thank you very much. Mr. Lau, talk about what specific capital improvement projects you would propose if you become elected mayor. 60 seconds.
Yeah, you know, you look at the capital improvement, all the projects that's on the list, totaling about right now about $184 million. No ways you're going to fund all of that. So you're going to have to start choosing which ones, some of which the people have already spoken to. But what I'll do differently is sit down with each county council person and take a look as far as where these capital projects are in their district and get a feed from them to say, is this an important thing for improving the quality of life in your community? I recognize we have to do the wastewater and all of those good things, but you know, we got to make sure we also touch all of our communities here, because here at Kealakehi it's very important for the wastewater, but in Honoka'a they might have another serious important thing that is very meaningful to them. So I will sit down with the county council and then together come up with what we think are those projects we want to take a look at.